Real Fit Radio with B
and J.LOU.
For our returning listeners, welcome back. And if you're listening for the first time, welcome.
Welcome, ladies and gents. Oh, man, she's sliding out of there. That's good, though. I guess y'all deserve an applause for coming back.
I'm going to get an applause button.
You should.
I like that kind of stuff.
All right, and we can look for one.
Yay. I want the light and stuff for us to see it, so it looks real.
Oh, wow. All right, then.
I want to go all out. So, how you feeling? What's going on?
The check-in. Well, I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. Clothed in my right mind. All my limbs are working. For as production-wise, y'all will see on the Instagram as well as YouTube, we just revamped that thing and put out a new logo, intro, all that type of stuff. I mean, doing a relaunch and all, you don't want to have the same logo. You want to have a new look, you know, put some pizzazz, I guess. I'm making up words right now. That's not in the dictionary. But that, and I will be putting out another joint. So I kind of been listening to that to try to see if it's something to add to it, take away from it, blah, blah, blah. I always send my stuff to my point woman over there to check out to see if Mike could have said something different or you doing too much, blah, blah, blah. But lack of better words, those are the only things I've really been thinking about and focused on this past week. It's kind of hard to have new stuff going on when you're limited, but try to make it as different as possible, but still productive.
Repetition is the father of learning.
That's how you respond to that?
No, I'm saying that meaning when you say you don't have access, you know, to other things, so you kind of doing the same thing. So I'm just saying you can't do nothing but get better at it, right?
Absolutely.
Exception of I'm ready to go back to the gym.
Yeah.
I don't mind. It just seems really forced. I just like to change the atmosphere, and I like the circuits at the gym. I like the consistency or the structure of it, I should say. So I do miss that, but past week was safe, productive, and I'm still set on winning the day. So
it's all you can do.
Yeah.
Well, you can do more, but we don't necessarily know if that's the right thing to do.
And we're here. We're here again. We made it to another Monday.
Well, all right then.
We dropped another podcast. We did a deep dive. That one dropped today, right? Or it dropped last week because you'll be hearing this next week. So what we talking about today?
It is revolving around the up and coming generation. And what I mean by that is like 25 and below and internet and social media. The reason why I was talking about us having a conversation about it is everything that we've been doing as of, I don't know, forever now, what seems like, and even especially in the last month or so, is Instagram, Google, YouTube, etc., and that got me to thinking, like, mainly the way we interact with one another. And like I said, this will spin off in different directions, but I often laugh because, you know, I look at the conversations and dialogue that we have in the house sometimes, and then, you know, I think about some of the young people that I run into, or because Josiah and Jairi fits that age bracket, they tell us about some of the encounters that they've had, and it just got me to thinking, will the internet or the social media, will that make the dialogue between people become obsolete? Because I've found that a lot of people feel way more comfortable talking via DM, text messages, emails, and things like that, and when you talk to them in person, they completely different than what they are via internet. It's almost like social media gives them a confidence boost, if that makes sense. But like I said, this is one of the things I wanted to touch bases on, because I'm not a very talkative person, but I can't hold a conversation with people because I like to talk and things that are interesting to me. But I just find that the conversation nowadays with anybody for that matter is becoming more and more dull. But have you noticed a turning point in that?
I haven't met anybody on the internet, so I know that would be more geared towards the age group that you mentioned.
That's why I said this age.
Yeah, and then you made reference to the, you know, the kiddos and what they're doing. A lot of younger people are on dating apps. They're meeting that way, and they do meet through messaging or commenting, and then the comments lead to sliding in the DMs. I haven't met anyone that way. But one of the things that kind of threw me is people will give out their social media handle before they give you a direct number. I still email and stuff like that, but I think I see more of the, I don't even want to say disconnect because that's not so much you're focusing on, but I do see that I'm sure everybody's noticed when you're in.
Disconnect, because that is kind of what I wanted to allude to, is the disconnect, because I just feel like people don't have the same connection as they used to. Like, remember when we was kids, the only way we can make friends is going outside, and you build this camaraderie through conversation and games and interaction via face to face. And I just feel like this generation going forward seems like they're gonna have a problem with interacting face to face. I see more people at restaurants and just different venues where you used to have to put your phone away if you had a cell phone when you was young, but now it's just like you can't even eat a meal without somebody, you know what I'm saying, taking a picture of what they're eating, all that stuff, and it's like you're not even savoring the moment that you in. So you can talk about the awkwardness, I guess. I couldn't think of the word. I had just said it. I had a brain for it.
Well, I think that it wouldn't even be abuse. I would say the misuse of technology or just, you know, the whole social media thing. I think that it's a great thing when you use it the right way. But like anything, overuse or misuse of something, the outcome, you get that, the lack of socialization and social skills, because those are both different. Socialization to me is when you're in a restaurant and you do see people sitting at the table and everybody's on their phone. They're not socializing. They're not talking to each other. But then you got people that don't even have the ability to do that, because they've become so reliant on doing it through the phone. But now what I have experienced is some of the influencers or people you see on Instagram where they have a certain type of personality or the way they interact with their audience. But I'm realizing that this is happening with them in the comforts of their homes or wherever they're filming, and it's just them and the camera. When they get in front of an actual person, it's a whole different type of interaction, because somewhere down the line, they're lacking these social skills. They're not able to interact with you with that same energy and back and forth. It's kind of like, well, what happened? But you turn that camera on and you give them that setting and they're able to do it. So somewhere, and I don't know where it kind of happened where it fell through the cracks. We're dealing one-on-one with people, but I think it even goes back to, like, I kind of watched when the kids were coming up, they were doing everything on the computer and they weren't writing stuff out. So penmanship and stuff like that, like they took cursive out of some of the schools and now they're doing everything. They're typing up reports. So again, that's not the same as social media, but that's still a form of, I'm just kind of grouping technology and stuff in there, because you can Google anything. You can connect with anyone all over the world. But I think we're having quantity and not the quality of it, the quality of the interaction. I can interact with, it's right at my fingertips. I can find anybody on Instagram and shoot them a DM and do all that. But I think somewhere in there, there's a disconnect, because if you actually met this person, will you say those same things that you DM'd? Would you be able to carry on that type of conversation? I think there needs to be kind of a pause button for the time you spend on social media and actually interacting with people, or some things like I required for our kids. You do need to write some stuff out. Why don't you write the report out? That's what we had as a rough draft. Mm-hmm. You handwrite it out, you can scratch through it, change this, read it, and then it goes into phase 2 or the finish where you actually type it out. Yeah. But you did your rough draft and things like that. So I don't think people are having these rough draft conversations where they can iron their, they get the skill set like, oh, that's not a word, or oh, I shouldn't do it this way, or oh, this is rude, or oh, if I want to have a conversation, I would start with this, or let me go over there and I know how this feels to go and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, what's your name? And that's not the best example, but
it might be.
I've seen more people, and again, when we allude to Josiah, Jair, you hear it say the kiddos, that age group is 20 and 18. So they're in that group. The way that they
know what the younger ones behind them is gonna be like. God damn! Yeah. Because I was just laughing because you did make a good point. That's why I said I like when I leave it open ended, because I like when you start to kind of stretch your mind a little bit on the topic. Because I was laughing because when you say having those rough draft moments when you're talking to somebody in a restaurant, you can mess up. So case in point, if I'm a man that's trying to approach a woman, like if you're doing that physically, you don't really know what you're saying, but you're going to go over there and let's say you mess it up. Now you got kind of like you said, a rough draft for knowing what to say, how to say it, or how to approach people. But then think about when you're having conversations through text message, you got time to process what you want to say next, or DMs what you want to say next. You can't do that in a face-to-face interaction, because you asking me something like, well, what you think about such and such? I can't Google that right then and then, be like, dang, I don't even know what they talking about, like you can through a text message or through DM or whatever, however you're conversing with these people through social media or your, you know, your phone or whatnot. It's just, like I said, that's a little different.
Right. I was alluding to the kiddos, that group. I've watched their interaction and how they meet people through social media. And also, when I was saying the pause button, how sometimes you got to press pause. It's like that rough draft can be an Uber or a Lyft ride. That rough draft can be you interacting with your waiter or waitress. Those are rough drafts. You can try all that out on the waitress, the waiter. You can try all that out on your Uber or Lyft driver, because I know you've jumped in with somebody before in Lyft or Uber and they just on a phone. If it's a shared ride, you get in. I mean, it's standard for me. If I get in, it's like, hey, how's everybody doing? Hello. I mean, because you're coming in. I was reared, when I come into a room, I speak. So people get in with a person that's driving you, that could drive you right into the lake or off a cliff, and they don't say hello. I mean, I think it's super rude, but they don't even like confirm that it's the person. And I've seen that more. I'm sure some do. I'm not saying everybody. And mostly the younger ones, they jump in and they looking down and they're texting or they listening to their music. We could jump from that to the freaking earbuds. I don't know why people leave those in and they're talking.
Accessories for real.
It's like earrings. Like, why do you have those in and there's no music? You're having a full conversation with me with earbuds in your ears. Why? It's like a part of the outfit. It's like earbuds. Like it's a part of it. So again, I alluded to earbuds because when they jump in the car, they got, the earbuds on. You don't even know if they're listening to music or not, but they don't say anything. These are rough drafts that were happening when I was growing up all the time. You're practicing. Those are all social skills or social cues. Mm-hmm. You make an eye contact. These were all the practice that you get so you can try that out on the slide in the DM or the girl that you see that's like, what would I say to her? You've been practicing all this time. But I think social media and some forms of technology eliminate those rough drafts that we had before that were sharpening the tools for us to be better in the other areas when we're not using technology or social media, but we use it, or the misuse or overuse of it. There's no space for it. Everything's robotic now. Everybody's on it,
I think just the more advanced it gets, it almost makes people even less interactive, just because of, like, case in point, FaceTime and Zoom and all this. In their mind, it's like, what's the point of meeting up when I can just hit you on FaceTime and see? Unless there's some kind of physical interaction going on, I don't need to see. So I don't know, but I was actually thinking about that thing when LeBron was walking down the street with the pieces and told this dude that was walking, hey, how's it going? And he just kept walking, but the whole time the dude's face was staring down at the phone.
I think you can miss life. I mean, the beauty of it. I've found out things walking down the same route that I've driven before, but I walked that route and found I didn't know that there was this small little bakery or this nook right here. Or, I didn't know that this florist was right here, because you're just driving by it. I think with technology, that's how fast, for example, that's how fast it's if you were driving by as opposed to walking by, and you see more. But I think it's almost, I don't want to say it's frowned upon, because you made reference to LeBron with the pizzas and the phone in the hand. And so let me get this straight. I can comment, I can DM you, I can call you, and now I can FaceTime. We're not FaceTiming if we live together. We're not FaceTiming if I know I can actually have lunch with you. We can set up some time to physically interact. I see more FaceTime calls with the generation, you said that 25 and under. Again, maybe I'm just kind of out the loop, but it's a bit much. It's just wait, you're not out of the country or in another state. And some people may be I just want that type of access. Yeah, but then it's it's overused for me. It's it's too much. I mean, if I had that mindset, and again, it's not the generation I'm from, you gotta earn the FaceTime with me. You can't, we're not just gonna FaceTime. Now I understand with the Zoom, I just recently kind of came into that because with everything going on with the people having to do classes from home, and I'm sure that's crazy. because they're having to wake up. And I'm sure people that have been used to already in college, you kind of like have the responsibility. You might not want to get out of bed, but now you got to get out of bed to roll over to your computer and be present. I'm sure that's just like, oh man, super crazy. But with Zoom or things like that for classes and for meetings for work and stuff, I totally get it. But again, I'm not trying to like FaceTime. We could go to the dating apps. You're swiping on Tinder.
What's up, baby?
You're swiping.
Your name is.
Oh, I did it. I went. I just wanted to see. I'm not going to put which kid did it on blast, but I wanted to see, like, you get a Tinder account. Let me see. And I'm like, how does this work? And they were like, you just swipe right or left. And I said, well, what's the swipe for? You like them or you don't. I said, oh, so this is all based on physical. Yeah. Okay. So once you do that, then what happens? And they explained to me, oh, you can open up some sort of dialogue. But when I asked, like, what do you say your sample size? Like, you've been doing this for a while. What's the conversation? Oh, it's garbage. They don't have anything to say. But you kind of set them up initially with an app where you're getting picked. You're chosen off of the way you look. And I do understand. I don't want to just be so far-fetched. Beauty is an eye of the beholder. I say, you like what you like. I don't think you should be picking based on everybody else. So you do see someone initially and you might know if there's an attraction. However, through socialization, some people that you may not have thought initially you had that much of an attraction to, it may have changed based on interaction or that socializing and stuff, or vice versa. It's like, you were attractive, but when you opened your mouth and the more that I'm around you, like I could never see myself dating you. But I don't want to know what the younger kids are getting now. And I can't even imagine what's coming in 2025, 2028.
We sound old, huh?
Look. I'll have a 20-year-old and I have a 28-year-old in 2028. So he'll probably be saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you use it for what it's good for, but check yourself. Press pause sometimes and put your hands in some clay. It's life.
Well, it's good you ended with the Tinder and the swiping, right? Because I was going to figure out which one I was going to talk about next, which, since you said that, this whole thing with the filters and all that stuff. And I always say social media is harder on the women culture than it is for men, mainly because of the whole beauty thing. Back in the Gap TV on Baywatch, they put the certain girls out there, or the makeup ads, they see that. And if you are a young lady that's growing up and you don't look like what's on TV, or you even going to school and the popular girl in school always look pretty much the same, or whatever the case may be. I'm not a woman, so I don't know what y'all go through with that. But what I'm saying is, with Instagram, with the filters and IG models and all that, I want to hear your thoughts on how that can play on a psyche of a young lady growing up, seeing all that and seeing the masses of amounts of response they get in terms of what attractive is. And then also just with the filters and stuff, because it's a lot of catfish shit going on with these filters, man, because these beautified pictures or beautified filters making people look different than you say you see them in person. And I'm not being shallow, but damn, don't be fooling people looking one way on there and then they see you, or the angles that you get. It's like, I just find that funny, but we can kind of touch bases on that. And also with the guys and stuff like that, I just think it's a microwave society, and what we thought was successful and all that as men, you see all of the phones, the cars and stuff, and it's just shoved down your throat through social media. And then if you're young and you're growing up, you think, oh man, that's what living life is. I think is wonderful if you rocking what you want to rock, you whipping what you want to whip and dressing how you want to dress. But I'm just saying, like, it's kind of like how I feel like music. I think it's always overly saturated with the viewing of one particular look, one particular profession, or whatever the case may be. And it's not almost like a freedom of choice when you're looking at these platforms. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I know I'm kind of all over the place with y'all, man. I'm sorry about that, but I was trying to get these thoughts out because I thought this was super interesting.
It makes sense to me. I always look at, there's really nothing new under the sun. When you were talking, I was thinking about, I don't know if my mom said it or I'm not sure who said it to me, but television programming, it says it there. I forget how it was shown to me, but it's just mass marketing. Nothing's changed. We have smaller TVs in our hands. We can Google anything, but the depiction of beauty, success, all that, that's mass marketing. It's supposed to be that way. even from the filters you mentioned, it was like, whoa, I feel like the plastic surgeons somehow are together with these filters. I'm saying it right. Like it's a marketing tool, because first you start with the filter where it's altering the face for fun. You know, they got the fun ones, the little doggy ones and all that they start with kind of fun. And then it comes into where you can make the slimmer, make your nose this way, you know, the color, or you're putting it on and people get really comfortable. Then you get all these likes, or people say, "Ooh, you know," the comments. And then it's like, this is not permanent. And so then, shoot, now you're looking at TV, or you're looking up and seeing these billboards where they have, remember that billboard we saw where it was like, your best you, or real beauty
in K-Town.
Yeah, and it was like the lady's face was like, that was her face, and then it showed like the surgery, like the beautiful you. I forget what it was, but I said
that was right there in K-Town. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I was like, it's so blatant, but it is, and it's mass marketing. I just think like they just have it out there, and it's very intentional. They oversaturate and they do force feed and shove it, because it's like, this is what their definition of success of beauty is, and they want you to subscribe to that. It's like, if you don't look this way or have this, you better go get it, because everybody's got it. Anybody that's beautiful looks like this. Anybody that's doing big things, or the top dog, they have this phone, they have this car. But again, it's marketing. I don't even listen to the radio, but when I used to, like when I was a teenager,
play the same
same song. It's like, gosh, I just heard this song. I mean, you're like, oh, that's it again. And even if you were like, I don't even like this, about a week or two in, you know the words, and you're like, I guess I could stomach it. It's programming. So everybody's got their little phones in their hands, and you know they have access to Google, and Google is the best teacher, free education. Like, you just better hope whatever the input is, that when they Google it, whoever put that in there, because I have to explain that. It's like, you do know when you Google something, it's information that was fed into the computer. So you would want to hope that you're getting some good information from somebody that had some sense. Really, it's like, I'll Google it. There are words now that I hear
conversate.
That when I was coming up, it was almost like that is not a word, but through usage, it's a word. So it's all these little loopholes, and it's acceptable now, but it wasn't acceptable then. I just think each individual has to have clear understanding of who they are morally and where they want to be, you know. And I say that meaning, because you feel like that's where I need to be, that ain't where I want to be. You know what I mean? My goal, or whatever it is not that. Who I am as an individual and my morals are this. That's not what it is. But again, when you see it so much,
it's
if you
suppression.
I was laughing when I saw other, groups. It was almost like, if you don't have the iPhone, how? I was like, that's the coldest gang I've ever seen, Apple. How do you distort a picture or it lets the other person know, like, you got an Android? It was like a joke, but I just was like, why was that necessary?
Oh, you talking about when we send pictures to you,
when
they
you
be all grainy.
Yeah, when you send, it's almost like they made it a club. Like, if you have this product, you can't even, they're not even compatible if they're not Max. And it's almost like you saw people like, what are those not earbuds? Or you don't even have it was kind of funny to me, because it's like, you do understand you don't have any, I hope you bought some stock in this, because if you didn't, you really shouldn't be marketing it like that. I understand, but how much money are you making off of those earbuds? But that's just a whole nother way of thinking. But the masses subscribe to it. Some of them succumb to it, because some just jump on there like, that's what's hot, I gotta have the next hottest thing. And some of them are like, I just don't want to be left out, the bandwagoner. Like, I don't want to be that person that has the Android, and everybody's like, oh, you got an Android or whatever you got. But Apple, the marketing, that mass marketing, they put it out there. Android came with it. It's just it's what you desire to be a part of. But that part right there, that bandwagon mass marketing type of mentality, if I'm saying that right, yeah, they just, nobody wants to not be in the club. You don't want to be the odd man out.
Yeah, I like how you tied in the business aspect, because overall, even though I was talking about filters and defining what beauty is, and for the men defining what success is and what's the coolest outfits and stuff like that, it really does tie into everything that you said.
I just thought about something, not to cut you off. I don't know if I tied that in there, but back to that filter thing. The filter, when I said there, once you get the filter and you start playing with that, and it's like, oh, I need this more permanent. The next is the real filter, the permanent filter, which was the plastic surgery. And I thought about that right now. I was like, oh, that's crazy, because they have the fillers. Like, you went from a filter to a filler, and you have the maintenance on it and all that, but it's more permanent than what that filter is.
And I'm glad you brought it back, because I used this example when I was talking to a young lady one time. This was a casual conversation, and they was thinking about getting plastic surgery or something like that, or some augmentation stuff done. And the best way I describe it from a male point of view, I kind of look at it as like a car, right? So when you have a car, you got maintenance, and we'll keep it at the minimum maintenance, like oil change, right? Every time you drive that car over 3,000 miles, or have it for 3 months, every 3 months to 6 months, depending on what make and model, you got to go in and get it maintenance, retuned, and stuff like that. Why? Because it's man-made. Anything that's man-made gets wear and tear. So when I think of plastic surgery or augmentations and stuff like that, if it's not something that's naturally done, not naturally done, sorry, wrong, trust the words, when you're not naturally built that way and you go in and get it, adjusted and or augmentated or whatnot, you do understand that's like a car. You're a car now. So whatever you're putting in your body, that's going to get old, and guess what happens? You're going to have to get some maintenance done. So when you go in there, the difference is, yeah, you'll be getting a new product. It may be the most advanced stuff, or it may not be, but you're not thinking about you're getting older. You know what I'm saying? So like with athletes, you used to get your ankle sprung or whatnot, or twist a knee or something like that as a teenager. You back in the game, a couple days later? Try doing that shit at 30. You tweak your knee at 30, you might be out the rest of the year. And I'm saying that to say, you don't recover the same way from that type of stabbing and cutting up and all that stuff the same way you did when you was in your 20s. You get in your 30s. Have you ever seen, I know you done seen people, you from LA, you done seen some of these actors where, or even the Botched Bodies Netflix show you look at, where what happens is, as you get older, all those augmentations and stuff, yeah, it may be new stuff, but you ain't new no more. You older. And so you may not recover the same way. Like what your body could take at 20, it won't take at 30. It won't take at 40. But now you done it so much to the point where it's like, well, I got to keep this look. Where your body won't respond to it the same way. And that's how you had these people having these interviews and these documentaries saying they wish they never done that. I'm not here to advocate what you should and shouldn't do. I'm just giving my point of view as normal. Hate it or love it, that's just my spot on it. And it ties back into what she was talking about with the IG perception with facial structures, the filters, or the gateway drug. Kind of like the gateway drug to plastic surgery, because they went from the filters to you can change the way your body is shaped. I seen an ad on my shit a couple months ago where dudes they were chunky and they was on a beach with their shirt off, and they changed their whole fat flab to a 6-pack.
This was through a picture?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why I just said that they're in bed with it's a part of marketing for plastic surgery.
So, yeah, I get
you can only
mean.
keep doing that for so long. And I think that's you know how you flirt with the idea, they have vision boards. You see the commercial, and you see it on the magazines, and you keep thinking about it, and you see it. Then you might even go to the vision board where you cut it out and you put it, over their work desk or on their desk, or it's like, that's my dream car. I'm gonna get that car. The only next thing that can really happen is you either rent it or you buy it, right? And for some people out here, I say in California, they'll do a lease with an option to buy. But I saw where you could put your breast on like payment plans. I see it's California, Los Angeles, Hollywood, it's all right here. So I think that's what happened. Like you said, you saw where they could alter the body, the picture. Yep. So that's the part where it's like they flirt with the idea, they play with it, but it's even like it's quicker now, because now you have people that can see it. Before, when you put the car, a picture of whatever, it's my dream body. That that was just you and the picture in your room, maybe in your wallet, work desk. You can alter it and put on your social media, get all the likes, get all the approval of like, that's it right there. That, ooh. So now you like, dang, I looked and I have this many hundreds, thousands of likes. And it's like, wow, I gotta get this. I can't not have this. And then guess what's next? You turn that TV on, click, and now they're showing you can have the body of your dreams. You can have the stubborn fat, freeze it. They had something I saw where they freeze the fat. It was non-evasive, like they didn't have to cut on you and stuff to go in. So it's just like the baby steps, and that just ties all the way back into what you're originally talking about, the disconnect, the social media. All these are baby steps to, I think, a full disconnect. This is bad. I saw, this is so bad. Was that you and I? The dolls that the dolls that the men could have sex with?
Yeah, that was me.
I don't know what they're made of, but how real they look.
Real human.
But they were
human. Yeah. Not real human. Duh, they're dolls.
Whatever they were made of. Because I remember the gag gifts were blow up dolls. These were not blow up dolls. I was just like, wow. So yeah, that was crazy. I brought that up to say the detached that's happening, and where it's just like, it's not even about the connection anymore. It's just about I'm getting what I want or the need met. And I'm not knocking anybody if that's what you like. I'm just saying, we
like the real thing, baby.
Silly. But I mean, I just think that, again, there's a pause that should happen, and some connections. Just nothing wrong with using it. Just don't misuse it,
I agree.
Limit that FaceTime. Go back to mobile calls.
Well,
do a mobile call. Surprise yourself.
Man,
like, just call somebody on the phone. And this is not for everybody, because they're like, that's what I do. I'm talking about somebody is FaceTiming every chance they get. They don't even act like mobile calls exist anymore. It's like, ding. And it's like, I'm looking at you and you looking at me. Leave a little suspense, a mystery. Dial that number.
You stupid. I know this song, like this whole segment been almost like the con side, and I'm gonna keep it that way because we need some reality in here. I mean, I know we always the innovative person and motivating and stuff like that, but some of y'all need to get this real on the opposite side. And it's not necessarily a con or a negative thing. We're just putting some insight on the other side of some things you may not even be thinking about. I know you said something about Google, and Google is the best teacher. And I love it because you keep transitioning me to my points, which is this one is the last one. And I know how we tied them all together, but the whole thing about, researching everything over experiencing things.
Oh my goodness.
Like, people
self-diagnose through Google.
Dude,
I was laughing having a conversation. This was years ago. The doctor was like, please don't Google anything. Because I said, yeah, I never experienced this before. I had headaches, and it's like, and I started Googling, and please, she said, don't Google. It's like, because I saw aneurysm, and then she said, yeah, and we don't even want you to go there. That's why we want you to come to the doctor and let us do what we do. But Google will have you thinking you gonna die. Like,
it is. It's crazy because don't get me wrong.
Sometimes too, though.
No. I was finna say, don't get me wrong. Like, man, Google and researching and YouTube and on how-to videos. I can't tell you how much shit I done fixed on my car looking at a how-to video on YouTube or some musical knowledge on YouTube videos or Googling. So make no mistake about it, I am not downplaying it whatsoever. But what I'm saying is, like, there are times, and again, this is more or less geared towards the younger people. When they Google shit, they think they know the answer. And it's like, yeah, you may know it, but some of this shit you need to experience to even understand it. It's one thing to know something. It's a whole nother thing to understand what you just, what you just researched. I mean, one of the biggest things is like sex. They research how to do it and what not to say, what the buzzwords is and all that shit. And it's like experiencing the moment is totally different from researching the moment. And I mean, I use that because that's probably the most relatable thing, because these hot boxes running around right now, male and female, the best thing I say is, especially in the younger part, like all this researching and stuff, like I said, just because you researched it doesn't mean you understand what you research. Some of that stuff you still have to experience it to understand it more. The main sentiments of these things.
How about the beauty again of the mystery where I couldn't Google, I don't even think they even need to be able to Google sex, porn, sexual positions, and it comes up. You don't even need to have access to some of that information until a certain time in your life, because you can't even process it. It's just you have so much access to the information, because the age group you said 25 and under. I'm thinking way under, and it's just like at 11.
No, that's why I mean. That's why 10, I said under.
9. You shouldn't have, even more so because you ain't even lived life yet. So I just think the takeaway from this overall, there are pros and cons to anything. And I think that, of course, there are some amazing things that have come through social media, technology, things like that. Again, when the overuse or misuse of something, it's no good. So don't be afraid to hit the pause button or reevaluate if you need to pause just how much you're using it or how dependent upon it you've become. That's what I would say. Because some people, they cannot be without their phone. It's, I need it. And there were times when you left the house and you didn't have a cell phone. You came back. Remember that I had a pager. I had a pager. Then we had the chirp phones. There was like a walkie-talkie. Yeah. So I went through progression. I saw when my mom had the brick cell phone.
You can hit somebody with that and knock them out.
Or was it a period of time where only like doctors and lawyers, like you were like, what do? You got a cell phone? Like it was, now it's just common. You see kids with them, everything. So I just think, again, it's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. We wasn't trying to bash these things because I think a phone is a wonderful thing. I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you in a dark road somewhere and your tire blew out, you stuck because you ain't got no way to contact nobody. Now, you get that same situation. You can text whoever you're close to and be like, hey, man, my car broke down. Can you come scoop me up, or can you hit me up with a AAA, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, like I said, make no mistakes about it. There are a lot of great things about the internet and social media, and like you said, using it wisely, and even for fun, and whatever the case may be. Like you just said, just overusage. I'm not here to be like I said, the party fucking police or nothing. I'm just saying exactly what you said about the overusage or something, because I think it reprograms your mind, like you said, to where you feel like you can't do anything without it, or you start making decisions based on what social media is trending on. So just live in the real world a little bit more is what we trying to say.
Right. Well, we're always open to your feedback. If you have any thoughts on any of the segments, you can always hit us up at realfitradio@gmail.com. Questions, comments, concerns. If you just want to reach out, you have any suggestions for things you like for us to discuss. If you don't know, for new listeners, we drop a podcast every Monday. You can always catch a snippet of our previous podcast on our Instagram at realfitradio@gmail.com. See, look at all that technology right there.
Yeah.
Email,
there you go. Pros.
IG. Yeah. So, yeah. And we're using it the right way.
Oh, yeah. No. Again, we not the party poopers. I'm just saying, again, reiterating, you don't want to do that too much.
And as always, we are here to inspire, impact, and empower our listeners one segment at a time. And I hope we did that for you guys. Until next time.